Yes, everyone, good morning and welcome back to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. We have got all of your Manchester United updates here this morning, the 24th of July. Get into the comment section, everybody. As always, you know the score, or if you are new and you are just joining us for the first live stream, I don't know where you've been. Come on, it's the best channel out there. I'm joking. Anyway, get into the comment section, get involved in the community. They are more than welcome in there. And we are going to talk everything going on with Manchester United this morning, starting with, for you midfield hunters, good morning for you, because we're talking midfielders today and Manchester United's situation. Ruben Amorim's demands to Manchester United in terms of what's needed. Going back a little bit to what happened in the Leeds game and what Ruben Amorim said after that game. Updates on Kobie Mainoo going to Spurs. What's happening with Javi Guerra and what has been reported there from last night as well after yesterday's news that broke. Updates on that. Wilfred Ndidi already signing personal terms with United. Where did that come from? I'll talk about that report as well. We're moving into Garnacho as well, with Watkins and Sesko involved in that one in a certain way. I'll explain as we go on with what I'm talking about there. But updates on both Sesko and Watkins and Garnacho in the show this morning. Rashford has left. A passing shot at Manchester United. I'm not really bothered, to be honest. He's gone and we're dealt with it. But there is another report coming out from Christopher Michael, a journalist over in Germany, saying that there is a hidden obligation clause in Marcus Rashford's contract as well, which we're also going to talk about this morning. So plenty to get through and a lot of topics to get our discussions going with, and get in debating there in the live chat, please. Everybody, give me your thoughts and let me know what you're thinking. Let's get in with everything that's happening. And you probably would have, if you have just woken up this morning, checked on social media, whatever, you will see some reports regarding Kobie Mainoo and where Manchester United are at with him, and an interest from Spurs. It seems every morning Spurs is interested in a Manchester United player. Now, the report has come from Graham Bailey, who has said that Manchester United are aware of interest from Tottenham. Tottenham have been asked to be kept informed on the Kobie Mainoo situation. Now, straight away on this one, you would go, okay, Kobie Mainoo to Spurs. Why? Are they not confident of getting Morgan's Gibbs White at the moment? Is that deal like cooling off or something? Have the Premier League found some form of illegality or something in this approach from Tottenham for Nottingham Forest, Morgan Gibbs White? I can't see Kobie Mainoo ever moving to Spurs. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't even think Kobie Mainoo is stupid enough to make that move. There is no future in it. We spoke yesterday about Garnacho's potential future. Honestly, right now, the way Garnacho is going and how professional he is, or lack of professionalism coming out from him in his camp right now, I really don't care. Go fill your boots. As long as you not get money for Garnacho. We'll touch on him in a moment. But Kobie Mainoo seems to have his head screwed on. To me, he seems to be a different level. I'm not saying that he wasn't part of and isn't mates or friends with the likes of Garnacho and Rashford and things like that, but he just seems to be approaching things a lot differently. He's got his head down, he's training hard, he's trying to get back in this side, he's trying to impress Ruben Amorim. We've had our debates before. I'm still standing where I was previously in many discussions that we've had here on Forever United TV about Kobie Mainoo and the so-called big contract that he wants. He can do one if he wants 180 and stands his ground on that. He hasn't earned that money. And I said before, I actually feel like with still 2 more years and an extra year for Manchester United to add on to Kobie Mainoo's contract, I think Manchester United is going to stand their ground with him and say, look, well, let's prove it this year to us, and then you'll get that contract. Let's put it all on hold. You're not going anywhere. We don't want to sell you. And let's see if you can earn that money this year with 2 years left on your contract, and then we'll sign a new agreement. Of course, Manchester United need to make sure that they do have something lined up for Kobie Mainoo because they don't want him to go on a free. That would be an absolute disaster right now. But with 2 years left and that extra triggered contract 1 year extension that Manchester United can put onto Kobie's deal, I think they feel safe and United can look at it that way. Why would Spurs be in for him? Like I said, if they're not going to get Gibbs White, maybe Kobie Mainoo is a target for Spurs. Look, Spurs look a bit desperate at the moment, don't they? They're looking at everyone right now. They're looking at potential deals for anyone who looks relevant or looks half decent. They're obviously planning ahead for Thomas Frank and this whole Champions League campaign. I still feel like Spurs are going to crash and burn when it comes to the Champions League. I really do. I cannot see them actually really even making a dent in their campaign in the Champions League. And Again, that's just with the players that they've got and what they proved last season. I just don't think they're going to do it. So why would Kobie Mainoo move to Tottenham Hotspur? I think this is just one of them situations now, personally, where I look at it. I think Kobie Mainoo is fully on board with Manchester United. The pictures, the stories and everything that's being reported from United at the moment is a very happy camp. The camaraderie and the atmosphere and environment around the team is very, very good, and I think that Kobie Mainoo is a big part of that. Obviously, Manchester lad, Manchester United supporter, and wants to stay at the club. Obviously, the big wages are what he wants. I think this is the big season for him, and he has got to fight for his place. Now, the reason I'm talking about the midfield situation and Kobie Mainoo probably more today, it's not just because of the link with Spurs. That's obviously brought it to our attention, and United will be on alert in terms of who is going to come for their players. We have got some good young players at our football club, and Kobie Mainoo is right up there as one of the best prospects we've got right now. So if we're not competing at the highest level, then other clubs are going to try and chance their arm and come in for him. We heard about interest from Chelsea for Kobie Mainoo, but obviously Ruben right now hasn't been playing Kobie Mainoo. He tried him in number 10. That's probably been his best position for United. We know he's not going to play there this season, so the concern is with Bruno Fernandes not signing his contract, with Bruno Fernandes not moving to Saudi Pro League, and this was brought up a couple of months ago when we was dealing with the Bruno Fernandes saga, that if Bruno's dropping back and he's going to play every single game, whether you like Bruno Fernandes or not, you know what Ruben's going to do. Bruno will play every single game this season unless he's injured. And you know that's going to happen. So where does Kobie Mainoo fit in? You've got the likes of Casemiro, you've got Manuel Ugarte, you've got Toby Collier in there as well that can also play in that role next to Bruno Fernandes. And Manchester United are actively looking, according to Fabrizio Romano, The Athletic, David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, every single journalist under the sun, everyone knows that Manchester United are looking for another midfielder and another deep-lying midfielder at that. So if Bruno Fernandes is going to be your marauding number 8, where does Kobie fit in? Now, this is the only reason I'm bringing this up, again, because of all of the talk with the midfielder situation, which takes us on to Javi Guerra's current situation. We spoke about more in detail yesterday. We knew that Manchester United were interested in him. The journalists played it down because there is no immediate bid there, and United are not close to signing Javi Guerra, but we are aware of the situation. Everybody was waiting for Valencia's new contract to Javi Guerra, and where that took us. It took us to a place where we was yesterday, which was Javi Guerra not signing that new contract with Valencia and potentially now looking to Manchester United. In fact, we've had some journalists actually come out from Spain and say that Javi Guerra has actually verbally agreed to Manchester United and is happy to make that move there, wants to see what Manchester United have got to offer. So I might not have said that right there. Like he has verbally accepted that Manchester United... No, it's the wrong word again. Sorry. He's verbally accepted that United are going to bring in an offer for him. He wants to look at that. Some will say in them reports that he has already said, yes, that's not true. He hasn't signed or agreed anything to Manchester United. I think we can pretty much say that. But if he's not signed Valencia for Valencia, I cannot see them and their financial situation getting any better. Therefore, I cannot see anything moving forward from the Spanish side of things for Javi Guerra. And now we're in a position where United are ready to move on Guerra if he is indeed Ruben Amorim's top midfield target. Obviously, we've spoken about João Palhinha as well and potential loans coming in for Manchester United in midfield. Javi Guerra, according to the reports in Spain now, is available for 21 million quid. That is quite cheap for a young midfielder. Bring into the fact that all of the unknown and unproven facts are there. Obviously, we're not ignoring them, and we're not just saying that United are going to go out and buy Javi Guerra. It's not like that. It is a case of United just, again, monitoring, and we can make a joke about that, monitoring FC, interested FC and everything, but what we're looking at here is, I think Manchester United, I said it yesterday, we're analysing everything that's going on and everything that's happening right now. And I think, again, it's going to come down to the striker situation because that, I feel, is the number one priority alongside the goalkeeper. I actually think that Manchester United will buy a cheaper midfielder. I don't think we are going to spend a lot. I mean, I still would prefer João Palhinha on loan to Javi Guerra. Again, I'm just going with the proven players this season. We need to get back up there. We need to get back competing into the Champions League at some point, and then players have got a better chance of doing it. I'm not taking anything away from Guerra. I'm not taking anything away from his quality and his ability. I would like him at the football club. I think he is a very, very good player from what I've seen and watched. And I haven't watched much of it. I'm looking at the stats. I'm listening to what the experts are saying. I'm listening and looking where he is with the under-21 setup with Spain and where he's been with that. The fact that United have been looking at him for a long time. I get it. But again, I'm still going to pick a Prem-proven midfielder over Javi Guerra. I'm just at that point now as a United fan where I just think it makes sense. And I actually do believe that this is how Manchester United are now looking at things. And I don't believe in the stories with Guerra that United are going to buy him. I don't think he's the top of our list. I think players like Kobie Mainoo are probably being brought forward as to saying to him, I think it's more of a challenge to Kobie with a young player who knows the Premier League, rather than going out and buying a young midfielder from Spain. And again, no disrespect at all to Javi Guerra, but I just think Manchester United's approach to this is, why would we buy Guerra if we've already got Kobbie Mainoo? And that's the only position Kobbie's going to play. Whether you think he suits that role or not, he has to adapt. And I think the club would want him to actually prove himself this season ahead of buying Guerra. If you are going to bring a midfielder in, you need to bring somebody in that is going to impact your team instantly this season. There is no time for the unproven to make their mark and just like bring them in gradually. You need players now. You need players that are going to score, tackle, going to do everything in their departments that are going to get United forward. By tackling, I mean like what a midfielder would do. Ball carrying, tackling, creating, making Manchester United's midfield a lot more solid. And I don't know if Kobie Mainoo can do that. That's the big question right now, isn't it? Can he adapt? Because he has looked quite slow. He hasn't looked like a player that Manchester United can rely on in midfield in that number 8 role. And again, it's down to him right now. But also Ruben Amorim, which is why I think he is going to buy another midfielder that probably isn't going to be a massive financial burden to Manchester United, which takes us onto, and I'm going to come to the chat on this in a minute, I can see you all piling in with your comments, which brings us on to Wilfred Ndidi. Now, in terms of Wilfred Ndidi, Football Insider are actually saying that Wilfred Ndidi has agreed personal terms with Manchester United. Again, agreed. So United are doing the groundwork with all of these midfields, and Ndidi is a realistic target for United, whether you like it or not. He's on the list. He's dirt cheap, and he's happy to move to Manchester United. Ben Jacobs has covered this story. A few others have covered it, and I think again the fact that he hasn't moved is another one of these players that we've been talking about with the stories going around about United informing players to just wait while we get everything done and move players on. They're doing work behind the scenes, I think, to get players lined up, ready to make the move to United. And I think that's exactly where we're at. There are other midfielders there as well. Look, the situation will develop to a point where Douglas Luiz hasn't moved, Ndidi hasn't moved, Guerra's not done or signed anything at Valencia. There'll be other midfielders like Paulinho on loan potentially from Bayern Munich. All of this moving into the last month of the window, I think will start to play itself out, and we'll find out exactly where Manchester United are at, but where other clubs are also at, because Bayern Munich might just say, no, we're not loaning Paulinho, you've got to buy him. And then United are looking at, 30 to 40 million for a 29-year-old who's going to be 30 this season. Is that the right way to go? Can you get 2 or 3 years out of Paulinho again? It goes back into what I said yesterday with the strikers. You're debating over Ollie Watkins and Sesko, a 22-year-old who's got a future at Manchester United, or has he? Against someone who's going to guarantee you 3 years of pure quality. Because you might only get 3 years out of Benjamin Sesko as well, because he's not made it. And that's the difference. That's what you've got to decide. Will João Paulinho give you a guaranteed 100% for the next 2 to 3 years? Yes, he will. He will. We know he will. And that, I think, is up to Manchester United, because the contracts are going to be, I reckon, around about the 4-year mark for players around about 29. But Ineos have still never bought anybody over the age of 26, and that's the ultimate test for them. Are they going to pivot from their plan to back Ruben Amorim with what he needs? Because the only players that Man United can get now are players that are above that age threshold in the Premier League with that experience. And Wilfred Ndidi drops into that as well, being 27, but he is only about 5 to 8 million in terms of price. which is why I think it might be him. I think Ndidi, again, has got something to play in this because he's cheap, and United don't have the resources to go out and buy their number one midfield targets. Again, I think that will be next summer. I've said that quite often, but look, I'm going to open that up to the chat there. I mean, what I've said there, would you take Mainoo and trust him in the 8? Would you go for Guerra at 21 million, or would you go for Wilfred Ndidi for around about 8 million? Or would you try and wait it out and test the resolve of Bayern Munich and maybe try and squeeze a loan deal out of João Palhinha at the end of this window from Bayern Munich? Or you could just say to Juventus, there's Jadon Sancho, give us Douglas Luiz. Which way would you go? You've got 5 midfield options there. And when you think about midfielder not being top of Man United's agenda, when you think about that, there is a lot of movement there potentially in these last few weeks of the window for United to go out and get that midfielder. I think it's all been brought about by this news, this story. It's what brought my attention to it was Spurs' interest in Kobie Mainoo. And it just brings Kobie Mainoo into the picture a little bit here. With he actually is, in a way, a signing this season for Manchester United, in that he has to turn the page quickly. Otherwise, I don't think he survives at United. I think he'll be sold next summer. He has to prove himself this season. So in a way, he kind of is a signing. And I'm not trying to big that up and cover up a gap, because we need to buy another midfielder. I get it. We need to cover Casemiro. I'm not fully sold on Manuel Ugarte yet. Toby Collier, I don't think he's going to make it at the moment. And if we buy a midfielder, does that mean Toby Collier goes on loan as well? You've got all of that to bring into this here. And it's a bit of a minefield when you look at Man United's midfield situation right now, but there is ways out of it, I think. Let's get into the comments section as well. Don't forget, everybody, if you are asking about the shirts, the link is in the live chat there. Made up Manchester United training tops. Not the norm and not the originals at all, but the website up there in the link in the live chat is OK Jerseys. Grab your deals there on that website. Loads of different options there, including mega retro shirts. So go check them out. Manny with a couple of super chats. First of all, midfield is massive. Adam, fans need to understand how big that is for AMORIM'S system. Legs for days and massive engines required. Does that rule out Kobie Mainoo then? That's the topic I'm bringing up here. I'd loan Kobie out to learn the trade at number 8 in a smaller league. He'll be back 10 times better and fit the mould. He isn't going to Spurs, but he has 12 months to prove he has the legs for Ruben. Loan him. There's no way that United will loan Kobie Mainoo, mate. That is just a million miles away from Manchester United's thoughts at the moment. Never in a million years would United ever loan Kobie Mainoo out, I don't think. And again, like, where would he go on loan? Who would take him on loan? And someone who wants and is demanding 180 grand a week wages for Manchester United as it is at the moment. Well, his agent is, not him. Well, you're looking at it there and you're saying, look, he really sees himself at Manchester United. I cannot see the club ever thinking of selling Kobie Mainoo, not just because he's a homegrown player, but I think Manchester United feel like he is a full-on international right now who could actually do a job for United this season. There's not a chance they're going to weaken our midfield, which it will be if we loan Kobie Mainoo out and not bring somebody else in. We'd have to sell him to bring in a better midfielder. We cannot loan him. There has to be money coming the other way. Otherwise, it would be pointless for Manchester United. Barry says, using that Ndidi logic, might as well get Jamie Vardy on a free for a couple of years. Proven scorer, and with Fernandes, Cunha and Bumo behind, even more goals will result. Not at 38, mate, I'm sorry. Jamie Vardy at 38. Like, Jamie Vardy, yes. Jamie Vardy in his early 30s, yes. But not at 38. That man is not going to be able, I don't think, to cope with the demands of what Ruben needs. I just don't think he fits the mould of striker that Ruben wants either. And we know what that player is. It's a ball carrying, over-the-top type of striker who can hold it up as well. I just don't think Jamie Vardy suits what Ruben wants at all. Daniel says, sell Mainoo 50 million and get a real midfielder. I understand he's young and talented, but will he be a top midfielder and stay fit? I don't know where he's fitting into the system. Yep, the system and where he fits in is the biggest question, I think, for everybody when it comes to Kobie Mainoo. Where is his role? Where does he go with Ruben? Again, it all came, I think this conversation started months ago when Bruno Fernandes, and I remember the chat on the day, when Bruno Fernandes stayed at Manchester United, everybody automatically went, what about Kobie Mainoo? Where does he go now? That, I think, is the biggest concern, because Ruben's talking up Manuel Ugarte. We're looking for a number 6. Ornstein and Romano have said that Man United are looking for a number 6. So clearly, he's not sold on Manuel Ugarte. Kobie Mainoo is not a 6. I don't see it. Kobie Mainoo fits into a rotation with Xerxes and Mount to play in the number 10 roles. That's where I see Kobie playing. I don't think that Kobie is that midfielder. I really don't see it happening. So it's why United are looking at Guerra. I think it's why United are looking at Ndidi. They want that number 6 to protect what I think Bruno Fernandes does. He will be the midfielder that runs up and down and runs everywhere. But is Bruno Fernandes disciplined enough to play this system in a deep lying role? That is a big question for him now. And a big challenge for Ruben to deal with Bruno Fernandes this season, because Bruno's not going to change. But Bruno isn't going to learn this role. Bruno's done this his whole career. He does it for Portugal, he did it for Sporting, he's done it for United forever and a day. It's up to Ruben Amorim to try and get Bruno Fernandes to be disciplined. Otherwise, he is the one that's going to get the axe, not Bruno. And we know this. So, can he harness Bruno's energy and what Bruno is? I don't think he can. I mean, Bruno could change. Of course he could change. But he is who he is. And he's never changed while he's been at Manchester United. He's the risk-taking, fast-moving midfielder that is always going to try the Hollywood pass when he sees it on. A lot of the time it comes off. He is our best creative player by a country mile. And I don't want to change him at this point. You've got to find a way of making him fit into your side. And that's on Ruben. He has decided that he wants to keep Bruno Fernandes. So he has to make him work in this system. And if it's to the detriment of other players, then the axe is going to come down on Ruben Amorim. It's as simple as that. And again, I think there is a role for Bruno in this team, but I am concerned, like a lot of other people. Like, I love the way Bruno plays. That's just the way I like my football. I like risk football. Risk reward is what I was brought up on at Manchester United. And Bruno fits that. I just don't know where he fits in this system. Like, is he going to be disciplined to stay in his position and not maraud forward if he's going to be a deep lying player? And have we got enough cover in this system in midfield if Bruno's running forward as an 8, if it's just Kobie Mainoo there? That brings Kobie back into focus again. And that's the biggest concern. That is my major concern in this. Super chat in for Manny. Ruben calls Trincao, says, I need you to hold the circle. Yes, boss, done. You never know, Adam. No, he's a 10, mate. He's a higher player. Like, he's another Bruno Fernandes. We don't need any more attacking midfielders. We need somebody who's going to control the game. Somebody who's going to dictate the pace of the game. That midfielder is a hard midfielder to get for Man United this season, and which is why I think it will be a make-weight signing at the end, and then someone else bigger will come in next summer. It has to be. Can't develop on the bench, just a fact, says Ant. And he expects Kobie Mainoo, I'm guessing there with that super chat, to be sat on the bench the majority of the season. It's a great point to make. Will he have enough game time to improve? Because, let's be honest, if we're all picking our starting lineup for the start of the season, is Kobie Mainoo in it? He's behind Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes, as far from what I've seen and watched Ruben do. Are we agreed with that? Is he behind them 3 players? I think he is. I really do think that Kobie Mainoo is fourth choice in the midfield too for Manchester United, behind Casemiro, Ugarte and Bruno. And again, it's like Ant said with the super chat, is Kobie Mainoo going to improve to that level that we all know he could get to, because he's got a high ceiling? We know that. There is potential and some there with Kobie. But is he going to get the opportunity in Man United's lineup with a Ruben Amorim system? That's the big thing. When you committed to Bruno, you took out one of them places for the whole season. And you've got Casemiro and Ugarte, who are holding midfielders. Kobie's not. Where does he play? He's behind Mount and Xerxes, in my opinion, in the front 10s as well. Because you've got now Mbeumo and Cunha, who are guaranteed to play. Xerxes, I think, will be pushed into some form of bench playing number 9 player. Mount is a 10. you've got to bring Dalot in, so does Amad come into the 10s as well there, because Dalot will get game time as well. I'd say that's going to be a really interesting one. I've not picked up on that, but when we get closer to football, who starts at right wing back? Because if Amad starts, that's Dalot officially benched. Because it's the opening day, it's Arsenal, it's a massive game, and if he goes with Amad, then I think we're looking at Dalot officially benched in this system, and he's going to be it's not even a reserve, like he will just be cover. Because there isn't enough games in this season for Manchester United to completely rotate. He's not going to change it that much. There's so many different situations that can develop. Like it's intriguing to figure out how he is going to deal with all of these players that he's got right now, because the amount of 10s that we have got in this team is it's unnecessary. Like again, I think it was Carl who brought up the comments. We kept Bruno Fernandes in this team and then bought 2 players who play in his position on top of the other 3 players that we've already got that are competing with Bruno Fernandes in this squad right now. Mental. One of them players was Alejandro Garnacho. And on him, ESPN, we're moving on to Garnacho now, everybody, as well. Keep your comments coming in. Thank you. If you have liked the video already, thank you very much. Let's get that over 500 likes again, as we always do here on the morning show. Really appreciate all of your support, as always, everybody. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are on the march, everybody. Already closing in on 93k after only just passing 92, which is mega. Thank you again for all of the support. Keep subscribing, hit that bell notification, and give the video a like if you haven't. Garnacho, what are we talking about here? ESPN ran a story yesterday of Unai Emery's, not so much, love wasn't the word that they used, but same thing, you get what I mean. He's an admirer of Alejandro Garnacho. Now this brings in, obviously, the conversation we had yesterday. It's slightly different because it's the point of view from Aston Villa's Unai Emery. He likes that attacking direct type of play. That's why he bought Marcus Rashford. Garnacho and Rashford, similar in the way that they play. They get the ball, they head down, they run. They run at players, they try and take players on, they cut inside and they shoot. Emery likes that type of player. We know this. And again, I feel like right now, Manchester United with Garnacho are not comfortable, but are comfortable. Because they know that Garnacho now is pressured into moving on, like we discussed last night. And the Aston Villa thing, this is going to keep on coming up. I can actually see this. And again, it brings back in the Sesko and Watkins side of things. So just on Ollie Watkins, let's just concentrate on him now at this point. But Garnacho being wanted by Aston Villa, I'm pretty convinced he wouldn't go to Spurs. I think there was a better project at Villa for him than Spurs. I'm not cancelling out Spurs. I think Chelsea are gone by the by. There is another story there with Garnacho as well, and a potential swap for Nkunku, not Jackson. And again, that is being pushed from the Chelsea side of things. I'm pretty convinced of that. But in terms of the forwards and the amount of forwards that Chelsea have got right now, if they bring in Xavi Simons, he has been talked about as competition for Cole Palmer. The talk on Xavi Simons, by the way, to Chelsea is of Chelsea just doing it because it's an investment. It's just an opportunity. Imagine being in a position as a football club where you could just go out and buy Xavi Simons for the sake of it. Because he's not going to dislodge Cole Palmer. He is versatile enough to play out wide, but his ideal position is the 10 that Palmer takes up and 3 roles. That, again, it's a different world to where United are at the moment, but does it rule out Garnacho going to Chelsea? Not completely yet, I know, but if they're moving Nkunku out and then bringing Garnacho in, then it could still happen, even if Simons is bought. We know what Chelsea are like. They like to buy multiple players. I don't think if Simons goes, Garnacho will. But then again, if there is some form of swap, then maybe. But United value Garnacho higher than Nkunku anyway. But that aside, that's the other option, and Spurs. But the Emery one for Garnacho, I think, if he's sensible, he will look at Villa and go, there's a space. No Duran, no Rashford, no Asensio. There is space in that front line for Garnacho. And if Manchester United want to do a deal, and obviously take Ollie Watkins as well, then he is guaranteed to be starting week in, week out. And that is his role then to get into the Argentina side. if you are talking logically, if you are talking with a little bit of common sense, and the way that you're looking at it is you want to get into the Argentina squad, you want to stay in the Premier League, so there are 2 boxes ticked there for Garnacho. The manager wants you, the manager is an admirer of yours, you're moving to Aston Villa, surely. And that moment is what United are waiting for, I think, because that will go, right, decision made, it's Watkins. It's Ollie Watkins is the player that Man United go for in that front line. It brings it all together. And I said this yesterday. Like the MEM were talking about it yesterday. Obviously, Watkins, we know, is a top target from what Romano has said. And he is right up there. Ornstein broke it. No, it wasn't actually. It was Ornstein talking about Laurie Whitwell breaking this 2 weeks ago as Manchester United looking at Ollie Watkins as a top striker target. Other people may be jumping onto it now, or we're all getting wind of it now, but it was about 2 weeks ago when we knew. And it was backed up by Romano from what The Athletic said, when he said that Manchester United have had several conversations about Ollie Watkins alongside Emi Martinez at the same time. So, again, this has been in the works for a while. And I think Manchester United are just looking at what business they are going to get done in terms of the outgoings to try and make this happen. Obviously, they know what Watkins would want wage-wise. They're getting a bigger guarantee with Ollie Watkins. And this goes back to what I said yesterday, again, with Benjamin Sesko. But Benjamin Sesko is not off the table for Manchester United either. And the Garnacho sale to Aston Villa outright would still give United the financial freedom to actually get a deal done for Benjamin Sesko also. So that's, I think, right now, personally, I do believe that Manchester United are waiting it out to see if anyone makes a move for Garnacho. And if it is Aston Villa, and I think they'll be trying to push that deal, I think more than any of the other clubs for Garnacho, I do believe that Manchester United would use that to trigger the situation with getting Ollie Watkins into the football club. I think that's what they're waiting for. Because, again, I think it's a Ruben signing, and it's not. I think if Ineos are looking at this sensibly, you can't buy all of the younger players all the time and expect them to come through and be brilliant. You can't look at players as sell-ons for every deal. Sometimes you have to make a call and say, right, okay, what's more valuable? Getting back up into Europe, Watkins guarantees you that next season. That's what that is. And anyone can argue against that. But Ollie Watkins guarantees you European football if you sign him. That's what you're getting there. Sesko probably gives you a good chance of getting it as well. But it's like the conversation we had yesterday. Not to go over it again. 3 years of Ollie Watkins is better than 3 years of Benjamin Sesko, in my opinion. And Benjamin Sesko, past that, takes over Ollie Watkins. But what's more important now? What's more important for Man United? The next 3 years. You're supposed to be winning the Premier League in 3 years, according to Omar Barada. So what do you bring in? You make a sensible decision. It's going to cost you a lot of money, but that money will come back in drones if he gets you back into the Champions League in the next 2 years. That, I think, is sensible football. A couple of other stories doing the rounds this morning quickly that have just come out while we've been live. Of course, we like to keep you updated with everything as it drops out in the morning. We usually do get stories coming about. Manchester United have floated the idea of a personal seat licence system in their new stadium. This would allow fans to pay $4,000 to have a right of first refusal for a specific seat for the next 30 years, in addition to purchasing a season ticket. It is common in the US to help fund new stadiums. So, Manchester United are floating the idea of Man United fans being able to down pay £4,000 to hold a seat for the next 30 years at the football club. $4,000 on top of the price of the ticket. That would be as well. That is an interesting one. Oh God, I can't see many fans liking that idea, but I guarantee you there'll be some that are interested in it, 100%. Right, going back to, that was just a story that popped up there. Actually, let me just double check that there isn't anything else, because, again, on these days, Plettenberg is saying that Tottenham are actually looking at João Palhinha as well. Bayern Munich are open to letting him leave should an offer arrive. Again, that's pushing the money side of it. Do United commit to a 29-year-old turning 30 if they want to get involved in that? Again, it's debatable, and it's going to split opinion. It really is. Let's see what else. Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea are all showing interest in signing England's under-17 captain Seth Ridgian. Again, we talked about that before. United are favourites to sign Ridgian. That's just all of the reports that have come out while we've actually been live. So yeah, is anyone in the chat saving their seats or reserving their seat for $4,000 before you pay for your season ticket? Let me know if there are any season ticket holders in the house today. Let me know if you're going to pay $4,000 to hold your seat in the new stadium. Reserve it now. Let's see what else we've got here in the comments section. First of all, super chat for Manny again. Absolute legend. Thank you, mate. Ahmad starts at right wing back all day, every day. Dalot is a bench player because he covers both right wing back and right back. He is a depth player, expensive depth player. I've always asked the question, would Dalot ever be sold by Manchester United to make some money? There is money to be made off Dalot. Does the goalkeeper jump to the front since they should be cheaper than the number 9? Or do we need to clear money to bring them in also? Again, I don't think when it comes to the goalkeeper, priority striker or goalkeeper, I think the goalkeeper is easy to get. I think it is probably going to be Senna Lamans. And United know that they've got that one on the hook. There are other clubs that are interested. I think West Ham had already expressed an interest. But like we've said, United are telling players to just hold back. Just keeping players on the hook and informing them as it goes forward in terms of their transfer window and activity as to when they can make the move. I don't think the goalkeeper jumps in front of the striker. I think Ruben Amorim knows that goals are what's going to get Manchester United back up. Our two worst Premier League seasons ever, back-to-back, which have been the last 2 years, have come through not scoring goals. We have been appalling in terms of our goal output. And being in the minus goal difference for 2 seasons in a row is disastrous for Manchester United. He knows that goals are going to keep Manchester United competitive, so I think that's his priority. I think the goalkeeper will come. And I still feel like it's going to be... It could be either one of the goalkeeper, actually, or the striker that comes first, because the keeper's going to be cheap. So we could just sign him. But I think United, if they know that there's an opportunity to get one of their top striker targets, they will hold off on it just to make sure that they get the striker in, because we can always make deals happen later on in the window and bring the goalkeeper in, especially if it is going to be a number 2 goalkeeper to start with. There's no drama. You've got Onana. We like him or not, from the club stance and how they're looking at it, and I hate saying this, by the way, from how they're looking at it, it's a case of, well, we've got a goalkeeper. Is there any rush? What do we need, ideally? We need a striker. I'm guessing that's how the club would be looking at it. Really, all of us sat here right now are saying we need Onana out of that goal. That's the fans' point of view. But I'm just trying to think of how the club would be looking at this right now. I do believe, this is Andre Onana's last season at Manchester United. He has to be gone next year. Has to be gone. Let's get some more comments on everything that we've spoken about so far. We have still got quite a bit to get through, so I'll do the comment section now just to gauge where you're all at with all of them topics. Mian says, Kobie Mainoo just can't run or outpace any winger. The only solution would be playing free in midfield. Would Ruben change his system for that? I don't know. Mujadid says, Fort Radcliffe is only buying players under 26. Would he buy Watkins, an old, soon-to-be retired player? Not soon-to-be retired, mate. Come on, that is harsh. He's 29. But that's why I asked the question. I don't know if you missed it, mate, but I said, would Ineos pivot away from their profile of player that they have always bought? We are, 3 windows in now with Ineos, and they still haven't bought anyone above the age of 26. Would they pivot this season in the need to get Manchester United back up there? That's the big question. And that's the only thing holding me thinking that Ollie Watkins is Man United's main target. It's the age. I just don't think it's an investment that they're going for. I don't... It's interesting because I think he is a target at the right price. But if it stays at 60 million, United are never going to go for Watkins, I don't think. Because it's like what the Athletic said. They weren't going to buy a striker in Gyökeres. And this is when I'd still had a chance of finishing in the Champions League. United are not going to buy Gyökeres because he's 27, and they're not going to spend over 60 million on a 27-year-old. So why would they go and spend 60 million on a 29-year-old Ollie Watkins? That's playing in the back of my mind as well with it. Let's see what we've got in here. Let's get through. Paul says, the only deal I would want from Chelsea is Cole Palmer. Otherwise, no more deals with them after the last couple of deals. I get where you're going with that. It's scary. It wouldn't... it would have been 40 grand if he had finished in the top 4. If we had finished in the top 4. 40 million, you mean? We can't keep telling players to hold back. Well, that's up for the player to hold back or not, isn't it? If United have convinced them, yeah. No, we can't keep telling them. We need to get deals done. I understand that. But I think in United's situation right now, they must have done something behind the scenes that's convinced these players to hold out. I don't know, is the honest answer to it. But you've got to think how United can work in this situation, and they can't guarantee anyone right now. I've got 2 season tickets and would pay 4 grand, Adam, but I'll likely be dead within 30 years, especially with the stress of supporting this club. Cheers to that, block, mate. I know. Would you spend 4 grand to reserve your seat? Would you? I don't know. Amorim wants Onana gone, but Onana doesn't want to leave, and Man United are useless at forcing players out, so don't blame Amorim. He doesn't want him. Clearly he wants somebody else in, and I do believe if we get a number 2 like Senne Lammens coming this season, then I do believe that it will be to push Andre Onana out eventually, and we should see somebody else in between the sticks, ideally Senne Lammens, by the end of the season. I hope he does get his opportunities and does actually force Andre Onana to the bench, because that will then guarantee he's leaving next season, because he's only got 1 year left and United could probably take a cheaper price for Andre Onana next year. I cannot wait for the day that he's out of the football club. I think, again, like, not to sound really harsh, but I am, he's the worst goalkeeper that I've ever seen play for Manchester United. I think he's that bad. I do. Oakler says that Mainoo should be sitting in front of the defence, playing out from the first phase and supporting the back three. That should minimise the amount of ground that he needs to cover. But he doesn't play that role. He doesn't play that role. And that player has to also carry the ball. I know he can carry the ball, but again, this is what England tried to do with him. He's an attacking midfielder and he comes alive up the pitch in the number 10 role. He's an attacker. That's where he played in the under-21s, and that's where he's had his best moments for Manchester United. And his best performances have been in and around the edge of the box, arriving late, and you can look at all of his goals. Look at when he picks the ball up, his little bits of strength in and around there in the final third. That's where Kobie Mainoo needs to be playing, but we've just bought 2 players to play that role. So, again, it is a difficult one to try and figure out on what Ruben's thinking. Stu says, Adam, this is Ineos accommodating the rich people. He doesn't want working class families at games. He's a D-head. To be honest, mate, there is in this new stadium going to be different ticketing price setups for everybody. I think they've made that point. I think this is a way of gathering some extra funds as an idea to help fund the stadium. I honestly don't know how far that's going to go to funding the stadium, because you'd have to sell quite a lot of them 4 grand reserved 30-year tickets to actually make any dent on funding any part of this, because for what it's going to cost, it's not that much money really, is it, if you think about it? Like, if you get, like, what their hope would be, if you get like 30,000 Man United fans who wanting to do that, I can't see it happening. I can't. Would I spend 4 grand to hold my seat for 30 years? Again, where will I be? I'll be in my 70s at that point. So, I don't know. I probably wouldn't spend 4 grand. I mean, if you buy a season ticket, you get the chance to renew it anyway. So, I don't see the point in it, really. Again, it's just I think people will get carried away at the thought of, actually, that's my seat for 30 years. And I think that's the appeal of it. I don't know. I think just buying your season ticket should be enough still. But some people might fall for it. I don't know. I won't. I won't. Right, other news. Let's get into Marcus Rashford obviously leaving yesterday. There is a story from Christopher Michael going around that the deal with Marcus Rashford, and nobody knows the absolute deal, but there could be, if Rashford hits a certain performance level this season, i.e. he hits a certain mark of goals, performances, appearances, everything like this, there could be an obligation to kick in for Marcus Rashford in this contract for Barcelona. Look, it's really cheap, and I can't see them not taking it up. I think Marcus Rashford's time at Manchester United is done. He was very careful with what he said yesterday, obviously. I put a tweet out. I don't think people cottoned on to what I was getting at, but I just put a tweet out. Please do well at Barcelona, Marcus Rashford. It is basically so we can sell him next season. I don't want him back. And again, his comments yesterday, I think, was it a passing shot at United? Manchester United have been under a period of change for a while now. Honestly, I'm just happy that we don't have to protect this player anymore. I'm just happy that he's leaving Manchester United. That's where I'm at with it. The best thing that he can do now is play well, for his own sake, get himself into the England team, maybe help out Thomas Tuchel, and bring Manchester United money next season. Honestly, really don't care about anything else with Marcus Rashford at all at this point. But then again, you've got like all of the United players. Like, if you're behind, this is what I've got a problem with as well, a little bit. And I've said this before regarding Bruno Fernandes, always liking everyone else's tweets. I know it's social media and they've got their personal lives, but I don't want the Manchester United captain liking social media posts of players that have caused this club and caused the manager no end of problems. I think he needs to do more with that. I mean, Garnacho, that's expected. Honestly, Garnacho I've given up hope on completely now. Same with Marcus Rashford, but it's just like, I know the mates and I know they're going to like posts and there's nothing really in it, but as a captain, would you not just expect him to do a little bit more? Like, stop. You don't have to like everybody's post. This is a man that is, I think right now, is rubbing Man United's face into it. And there is a lot of personal, pent-up frustration in me with Marcus Rashford. Everybody knows that. And I'm not going to go too deep into it. I just feel like, just step back from it. Like, he's done. He's gone. Like, you don't need to be doing these things. And again, does Ruben look at this? Does he think that all of the players, and social media does cause a big problem at Manchester United? And it has done, we know, for a long time now. But look, Rashford saga is over. Thank God we can move forward and move past it. And if, like what Christopher Michael said there, and like I said, like, do well, Marcus. Please perform well. And reboot your career, mate. Over there in Catalonia, go for it, mate. I wish him all the best going forward because he's not at Man United anymore. And that's it. That's my stance on it. And he may bring us some money later down the line. Rashford is gone. And that time at Manchester United has finished. It does feel like a weight has been lifted, honestly, from the fans and from, I think, for the club more than anything. I've heard so many different stories about Marcus Rashford and problems with this football club and everything. And now we don't have to talk about it anymore. Now it's done. And good luck to Marcus in the future at Barcelona. I hope he does bring that money in because next season it could be massive for United. 100% profit and that massive wage gone alongside the likes of Maguire and Casemiro. We're losing a lot of the experienced players from Manchester United's squad next summer. And this is why I feel buying in certain players this summer probably isn't as bad an idea as what Ineos might be thinking. Like Watkins, experienced player coming in. You're just replacing one experienced player with another there. And we do need a lot of that. If you're going to bring these young lads through, you need to have some experience there. And next season, officially, you could be losing Rashford, 28, Casemiro, 33. Same with Harry Maguire. There's a lot of experience leaving Manchester United. And the squad is getting younger, which is great. But you do need to find that little balance. And sometimes you need that older head in your squad to actually help the younger lads come through and prosper. So, yeah, I think just be careful. Over at 500 likes. Again, everybody, you've absolutely destroyed it. Absolutely brilliant performance again from you. Thank you, everybody. Cheers for everyone that has liked the video as well. What we're looking at now is going forward. I think we're going to hear, very soon from what Romano said about the striker situation. So hit that subscribe button. I think that's coming next. Like, I feel like something is bubbling up with what Romano has said. I know I've been saying that for the last few days, but we're now into the back end of the week, and from what Romano said, in a few days we are going to find out about Manchester United's striker situation and what's going to go on. So let's just see what happens from here with that. And I think it is going to now get to a point where we do at least find out one way or another what's happening. So let's just look at that. Let's hope that gets sorted now before this transfer window closes. That is the big one, I think, the striker above anything else. But we'll keep you updated on everything that happens. Cheers, everybody, for watching. Thank you, mods. Great job again. Don't forget to check out the link in the live chat to the shirts and everything that's on sale. I will be back later on with all of your updates, as always. And have a great day, everybody. Hopefully, it's a good one, and we get some more updates later on. So, yeah, cheers, everyone. Have a good